Yes, EFD squad, and welcome back to another episode of Transfer Review with me and this dashing Dutchman. It's only Patrick van Straten.
Hello.
Got a hole in your arm, mate.
Yeah.
Shitato, joke. Anyway, banter,
Good one.
over and done with. Our first subject is Alexandro to Manchester City. What do you think to this, big man?
Here comes... Actually, this isn't bullshit.
Yeah.
I was primed to call it bullshit because that's what everything on this show is. But actually, I could see this one happening. The Mirror say that Man City are looking for new fullbacks, one on each side. Now, they've chosen Kyle Walker as the target on the right side. We'll get to that some other time. On the left, Alexandro from Juventus, they think. And you know what? I can see it. £50 million apparently he'd cost the Brazilian. And you can understand why. Juve have conceded 23 league goals so far this season. Unbelievable. And the Brazilian has been a big part of that. Yeah. He's got a combined 4 tackles and interceptions per 90 and 2 take-ons per 90.
He's a machine.
That's 6 times more than Gal Clichy has in the whole of the season. That's absolutely outrageous. So he's fast, he's aggressive, he's strong, and he can defend as well. What more could you want?
They definitely need new fullbacks, don't they? Especially because Bakary Sagna and Gael Clichy's combined age is around 64, 65, isn't it?
And they're both out of contract this summer. And I think Zabaleta might be too. And I think Kolarov might be as well.
There we have it. But is he a Pep sort of player in terms of keeping the ball? Yes, he completes 85% of his passes, which is very, very good for an attacking fullback. But the question here is, Pato, would Juve sell? Now, we've seen last summer with Pogba, they're happy to let big names go, but only for the right price. Look at Vidal as well. Look at Tevez in the past. Don't know if you've got any other examples?
No.
Put you on the spot there.
Moving on.
But moving on. So I think having bought him for 26 million euros as well, would they let him go for 50? Would 50 tempt them? Do you think that Beppe Marato would go in for that? Especially if they've not got a ready-made replacement lined up. I think Regani's a centre-back, isn't he? Have they got any full-backs in their youth ranks?
Probably,
so sure.
But who knows? Like, yeah, if you sell him for that money and then you've immediately got to turn around half of it, 2/3 of it, just to buy a replacement who you're not sure is going to be good, then is it really worth it for a club of Juve standing? They could still win the Champions League.
More importantly, is he going to want to leave a Champions League winning side, hopefully? And a league winning side.
We are impartial here at Eurofootball Daily. Anyone could win the Champions League.
Forza Juve. But let us know, would this be a good transfer in the comments below, guys? Get on it. Type away.
Next up, we take a look at the sun, but you shouldn't look directly at the sun. Bad for your retinas.
You'll end up like this.
You don't want that, as we all know. Sergio Aguero to Man United, according to the Sun. That's an interesting one. Chris, tell me if this is going to happen.
Look at George cracking up behind the camera. He researched this, and now we have to talk about it. What a pile of rubbish. Apparently they think he's off to United for £55 million, their all-time goal scorer in the Premier League. Now, let's play devil's advocate here, because this is what we have to do. On Transfer Review, we put the transfer under the microscope. Pato, Man City at the weekend, 5-0 victory over Crystal Palace. They've shown they can cope, at least without Sergio Aguero, their all-time top goal scorer in the Premier League. Someone who's averaged 20 goals every season he's been there. But you know, they've got Gabriel Jesus now. He costs £26 million. We know Guardiola has a lot of faith in him. He has a lot of faith in that number 9 position as well, doesn't he? He may have changed things behind that, but that number 9 has always been the linchpin, as well as the pivot of Pep Guardiola's sides. We saw it, obviously, at Barcelona, where Messi defined the position. He wanted Frank Ribery to play there at Bayern Munich, and now it looks like Gabriel Jesus is being coveted as his future number 9. I mean, this is almost transfer shocker territory, isn't it? What do you think? Because I reckon United are more likely to go in for Mbappe or Griezmann.
Yeah, that does make a little bit more sense to me. I mean, £55 million for a very injured 28-year-old.
I think that's a snippet, don't you?
I don't really know. It's hard to figure out how much someone like Aguero would be worth. He's such a phenomenally good striker. This season, 0.72 goals per 90 minutes. That's outrageously high, and that's the lowest he's had in his time at Manchester City.
Really?
You know, some seasons he had 0.91. One season he was over a goal a game. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Sickening.
But he does have knee problems, he does have ankle problems. As I've said, he's 28, he has very high wages, and City are trying to rejuvenate that front line. And if you're going to invest in all this young talent, you've got to make sure that they're getting minutes or they'll stagnate. So it potentially makes sense. I mean, Gabriel Jesus has been outrageous this season as well. In 7 games, 0.91 goals and 0.46 assists per 90 minutes. So that's a goal and a third he's contributing to for every game he plays. I mean, it's not a lot of games, but he's been unbelievably good.
Yeah.
And
we've not even talked about your boy Iheanacho as well.
Well, I don't know. I think Iheanacho might be out the door as well. But I think that Sergio Aguero, look, they've got him on this contract. He's still going to be a key contributor. And it means that if he's injured, then you get to do what you probably want, which is gradually move Gabriel Jesus into the first team and gradually move Sergio Aguero out of it. Now, Gabriel is not going to be the main man yet, but clearly he's going to be, at worst, a very, very good rotation player for Pep. So,
should we do a poll? Let's do a poll.
Let's do a poll.
Should Pep go with Gabriel Jesus next season or Sergio Aguero? Let us know over yonder. The next serving pato of transfer bullshit is from Globo Sport, and it is Vinicius Jr., someone we actually covered on Football Mundial in our Want to Watch section, to Real Madrid for an absolutely stonking fee of 45 million euros.
Yeah, we did cover him in Football Mundial, and that's because he's one of Brazilian football's brightest young prospects. He's only 16 years old, and apparently Real Madrid are going to pay 45 million euros for him, and he'll join when he turns 18.
It's quite sensible.
Now, he hasn't actually made his senior debut yet. He's been tearing it up in youth football.
Yes.
He was voted the best player at the South American Under-17 Championship, which Brazil won. 7 goals he got in that tournament. He was the top scorer. So he's really good. I don't actually like this move.
No?
I really don't. I think if you're going to pay 45 million euros for a player, you want to bring him over now and loan him out to a better league than the Brazilian league, so you actually get some idea of how he's developing. Maybe though. I mean, if you think he's really good, loan him to a proper league. Loan him to a tougher league.
Dig.
You know, like even Ligue 1, I think gives you a better indication of how good he is.
16 though. And
also, I hope that they have a get-out clause, because what if he breaks his leg next year and he's absolutely shot to bits? Are they still stuck paying 45 million euros for him? I'd be intrigued to see the paperwork on this one.
Do you remember PSG paying 32 million for Lucas Moura?
Yes.
Reminiscent of that. That's not really worked out either, has it?
Well, I don't know. I mean, he's at least a League One. He's
having a decent season.
He's a Champions League quality player, and you've got no guarantee you're going to get that with Vinicius.
Absolutely not. And Barcelona were reported to have huge interest in the forward, but it seems like Real Madrid have pipped them to the post. I've got down here that even Neymar phoned the youngster to say join the Blaugrana. How could he say no to Neymar, Pat? Probably because of the ridiculous wages he's been promised.
Same way 1,000
Isn't
women
Martin
have.
Odegaard on like 70 grand a week, and he's like 17 at Real Madrid?
I've literally no idea.
Absolutely mental.
Yeah, but his dad just
anyway,
that,
Globo Sport, according to George's script, is normally a good source for Brazilian moves. So, you know, there might be something in it, there might be some legs in it, but 45 million pounds for a 16-year-old.
Steep.
As you've said, very, very steep. Gabriel Jesus, though, he went for 32. He was a bit of an unknown entity. Obviously, he got some caps under Tite for the Brazilian national side, but there wasn't that much competition for his signature. I think Man City were the only serious contenders.
Really? I thought Inter were after him. I thought Barcelona were interested in him as well.
I remember reading an interview where it specifically said that Pep was the only one who bothered to like ring him to go the extra distance.
Oh, I'm sure that's true, yeah.
Yeah, and the only one who showed a strong, fervent interest. But guys, you know anything about Vinicius Jr.? Because, I mean, we've covered him, but not watched him play an awful lot.
Literally
Brazilian
pick him out
fans,
of the
get
crowd.
at us in the comments below.
Next up, we have Alexandre Lacazette, who might be on his way to Atletico Madrid. Now, this comes from RMC, who are pretty reliable on French football, but we still don't know if Atleti will have their transfer ban overturned. So it's all up in the air.
It's a very valid point.
But let's talk about it as if it's a thing that could happen.
Hypothesize.
Yeah.
Yes. Lacazette looks finally set this summer, doesn't he, to get that long-awaited move away from Lyon, obviously linked with Arsenal in January and the summer before for big money, 40 million euros. And Lyon have never had to sell because they've got cash-rich owners, haven't they? They're in a very fortunate position in compared to some of their peers in domestic French football. Now, he's been impressive this season, 24 in 28 league games and 4 in 7 in the Europa League. So, you know, relatively impressive numbers, but he did struggle a little bit in the Champions League, only getting 1 in 4, and 10 of those league goals have come from penalties. So those figures may be a bit skewed, but having seen him play quite a lot, his quality is undoubted. He's going to be a very good player, whether he stays at Lyon or moves on. And Atleti and their sporting director, Berta, they love to gamble on a striker, don't they? They don't mind paying a little bit more for them, and they have a very good track record at replacing a prolific striker with another prolific striker.
Well, yeah, I don't even know if they gambled. Like, it seems like they're just great at doing it. I mean, they of course had Torres, Forlan, Aguero, Falcao, Diego Costa, now Griezmann. You know, Gamero even you could include. You could even include Yannick Ferreira Carrasco, who's played up front at times for them and has been great. I mean, the one real blip on their record, you'd say, is probably Jackson Martinez, who, of course, they let go very, very quickly.
They still got their money back for him.
Still got their money back for him. So, you know, not that bad overall. This is the kind of move that you'd expect to happen if Griezmann was going to leave.
Yeah.
Now, it's been talked about, obviously he's got this transfer, he's got this release clause in his agreement, which is 100 million euros, that's about 85 million pounds, and every top club is going to want him, and that's probably the going rate for somebody of his quality. So if he goes this summer, Lacazette comes straight back in, and they've got another probably, you know, 60 million euros to do what they want with, which is quite good. That squad is not terribly young. And it would be good for him to rejuvenate.
Buy with that 60 mil, putting you on the spot here because we didn't discuss this before, but 60 mil, who would you bring in for Atletico?
I mean, to be honest, if I'm any club in the world who I want this summer is someone like Naby Keita, I think he's absolutely incredible. But they could decide to put that money towards trying to get an actual kind of superstar in. I mean, they now do.
Rodriguez.
Well, if they could get
Imagine if Real let him go to Atletico.
They now do have the status to attract really, really good players. So it'd be intriguing to see what they do. RMC have claimed that Lacazette has chosen Atleti because he wants to develop under Simeone. He said that he does want to play for a Champions League side. Arsenal look unlikely to be in the Champions League, and they're probably the most likely suitors in the Prem. Maybe the only ones around who would really want the player and have the money to get him. So it seems like Atleti might have a clear run at him. And as a result, 40 million euros, I'd say is actually a pretty decent price for this level of player. But what do you guys think? Would he suit Diego Simeone or would he not? Is Griezmann going to leave? Let us know in the comments below.
Moving on to our penultimate transfer pattern, it's Gianluigi Donnarumma to every big club in Europe. Man United, God, wouldn't be an episode of Transfer Review without those dogs, would it? Juve, Madrid, Celtic, and this comes from Calcio Mercato.
Yeah, what time is it? What time of year is it? Oh wait, we're getting towards the summer, and that means David De Gea to Real Madrid rumours. And with that happening, Man United are of course looking for a keeper, or if you read the papers, every keeper in Europe. They apparently want 18-year-old Gianluigi Donnarumma, according to Calcio Mercato, as Chris has said. And he's currently stalling over a new contract at Milan. His agent is Mino Raiola, who of course brokered Pogba, Ibrahimovic and Mkhitaryan all to Man United last summer.
Loves money, doesn't he? It's well known that he begins every morning by just making a thick shake of
big old money sandwich. That would explain
with a pint of Zlatan's blood in it every morning.
Oh God. Juve and Madrid are apparently interested in him as well as the Red Devils. So he's kind of keeping his options open at the moment. Milan are making a heavy play to keep him though. Of course they're going to offer him big new wages, but apparently they're also considering him, offering him the captaincy if he stays. He's 18 years old, he's a keeper, which I don't particularly like. And apparently they want to make him captain.
Yeah, I can see the seasoned pros in that side.
Bold,
really embracing that. Although, they're not shy captaining youngsters.
Aren't they?
Early on in Italy, are they? Look at the likes of Baresi. How old is Maldini?
Quite old.
Mario Icardi. The fans absolutely love him, don't they?
What a legend of the game.
What? What a lovely bloke. Yeah, as we said, this is Calcio Mercato reporting this though, who aren't the most reliable of sources, but it's easy to see why Donnarumma is in such high demand. The guy, he's younger than Zach Gelab, and he's got the wingspan of a fucking golden eagle. He's 6'5", kept 11 clean sheets in the league this season, Pat, which is impressive considering how bad Milan have been. They're currently 6th, about 7 points to the bad of Atlanta in 5th. He's also making more saves per goal than the likes of Buffon, Handanovic, Reina, Szczesny.
Oh, Szczesny.
On 3.05.
He's better than Szczesny.
Szczesny's been good at Napoli.
Oh,
Napoli,
mate,
even Roma.
Call the accountants. Let's make a bid right now.
Bring him back. Bring him back. Anyway,
Wang.
So it'd take a huge fee, wouldn't it? To prize him away from AC Milan, and not just AC Milan, a newly cash-rich AC Milan. Those Chinese owners are going to want to spend a bit of dollar next season.
They're rolling in
make
yen.
Them competitive again.
Up to their balls in yen.
But can you see him leaving this summer? Let us know in the comments below. And who would you replace him with, AC Milan fans? Because there's a deficit of top goalkeepers out there, isn't there?
What are you talking about, mate? Zach Gelab, get him in. He's on a free.
Don't, he'll never leave.
He's not agile.
Never.
The transfer shocker this week. It involves Hector Bellerin, but it doesn't involve Barcelona. It doesn't involve Man City. It's Hector Bellerin to Real Madrid. And this comes courtesy from our old friend, Don Ballon. Now, I personally like to imagine that Don Ballon is just one bloke called Don. He's on the Costa del Sol. He's a bit of a lad. He's a bit of a sarky cunt.
You want some Sambuca?
You know, he's on the dark web. He buys weed, he buys Crocs, he buys Arsenal memorabilia.
Still uses Brill Cream, 40. Yeah. Got a 20-year-old girlfriend, huge fake eyes.
Half and half scarves, 2 for £1. You know Don.
Selling scarves on the Costa del Sol, fair play to him.
But his sources are at it again.
Yeah. He is, I mean, he's
taking a big swing here.
I mean, he's persistent, if nothing else, is old Don Ballon. I mean, Hector Bellerin, Catalonian, born and bred, constantly linked with a transfer back to the Blaugrana. Only just signed a 6-year contract extension with Arsenal in November.
Sure.
This would be a hell of a surprise. I assume George has included this, 1, because he loves his latest array of haircuts, and 2, because he'd have a meltdown if Hector Bellerin left. But you being the Arsenal fan, you take over, say words.
Well, Madrid apparently want to offer Danilo in part exchange, which is
I'll tell you what, I'd take Nacho. Hell of a player.
What, at Celtic? Yeah, tear it up at Celtic, Arsenal, mate. Ooh.
Dig.
Ooh, spicy.
Unnecessary, isn't it?
Spicy take. In comparison to last season, Bellerin is making fewer interceptions, fewer assists, losing more duels, though that's perhaps not entirely unexpected, given that he seems to have been carrying this ankle issue over the second half of the season.
Oh, that's why he's been shit.
And of course, he hasn't been playing because Arsenal have switched to this insane 3-4-3 formation for some fucking reason. Now, of course, Arsenal said no to Man City last summer and managed to get Bellerin to sign a new contract. So I don't see why they'd say yes to this year. And as we've said, it's naughty old Don Ballon reporting this story. And by reporting, I mean just firing off bullshit, you know.
It's the Spanish version of Joe Tomlinson.
Yeah.
He's on
a sunbed and he's just sending out emails to every gullible twat in the world, including our very own George Wright. So this one, transfer shocker, bullshit.
I mean, we spoke about it now, so the joke's on us, isn't it? Oh, so that's it, guys, for this week's transfer review. But fear not, there is a lot more content to watch, Pato. Name but one.
Yeah, we're going to fire some content into your eyes, whether you want it or not. Stat Wars, you can check that out. And if you want more Spanish football knowledge, then head over to our latest Continental Club episode, where we interview Sky Sports' very own Guillaume Balaguer about the biggest rumours this summer.
See you later. Sayonara. Adios.
Adios.